Hello YouTube, welcome to my third video on Suggestions Showcase. Today the video will be on the Italian Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star. The suggestion was made by Nico, all credits goes to him. I am just making the video and reading his suggestion. Every picture you see on the screen was provided by Nico. All credits go to him. Thank you for watching the video. General info about T-33. The history of the T-33 began shortly after the end of the Second World War, in 1948, when the United States designed a trainer variant of the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star. The P-80 would be the first US jet fighter to enter operational service, with its first flight taking place on the 22nd of March 1948. Due to it being one of the first jet trainers ever produced, it quickly started being picked up by many nations. Lockheed would produce the aircraft from 1948 up to the late 50s. America would be the first user of this aircraft, which promptly put it into full-time service inside of the United States Air Force. What set the T-33 jet from the plane it was based on was the fact that it would be specifically redesigned to be 1 meter longer, due to its fuselage being extended. One of the main characteristics of the T-33 would be it being a 2-seater aircraft instead of a 1-seater. This was fairly standard for a trainer aircraft. Other modifications included reduced armament load and additional flight instruments, which would allow both pilots on the aircraft to be able to take control of the aircraft when needed. In terms of how fast the aircraft was, the T-33 had access to the Allison J33 A35 turbojet engine, which allowed the T-33 to reach speeds up to 965 km an hour. When it came down to armament, it would not retain everything from the aircraft it was based on. However, for training purposes, it still kept the ability to mount various types of rockets and bombs. Its main armament consisted of two 12.7mm machine guns installed towards the front of the aircraft. In Italian service, for the most part they were covered, but it did not lose the ability to mount such armament. The RT-33 variant would not have forward-facing armament due to the camera and its instruments to make them work taking its place. It was also used as recon aircraft, so armament was not particularly needed. When it comes down to the T-33 being used by Italy, it all mainly began when the US started to gain a lot of success on the export market for the type of aircraft. Nearly every NATO member at the time had adopted the design, so Italy became interested in the adoption. The US would sell the aircraft at a favorable price to Italy, which led to the Italian Air Force becoming a user of the Lockheed T-33 by autumn of 1952. The purchase included up to 60 two-seater T-33As and 14 single-seat RT-33As for photographic reconnaissance. The first users of this aircraft in the Italian Air Force would be the Nucleo Addestramento Volare Reazione and also the Scuola Aviogetti di Amendola, which would have hundreds of pilots at a time training on the aircraft. The T-33 were overall satisfactory. However, Italy and its avionics industry knew they could do better when it came down to creating training aircraft. By 1965, Italy had already purchased and put in service several G91Ts. This meant that the T-33 started to not become the main trainer for the Italian Air Force anymore. This trend would continue as more newer generations of trainers would be made and put in service. Italy would still find a use for the T-33As, which by then would mainly be operated in conjunction with Lynx squadrons. The other roles the Italian Air Force used the T-33 for would be sleeve towing, which allowed fighter pilots to train and familiarize themselves with the use of onboard weapon systems. Sometimes they'd be used to train interceptor aircraft such as the F-104 family of aircraft that Italy used. In that role, the T-33 would simulate a potential enemy plane breaching national airspace. As previously mentioned, the Italian industry knew that they could do much better, which led companies such as Aramaki to take over and create aircraft which would perform the role of trainer much better than the T-33 ever could. The T-33 would begin to be phased out by the late 1970s, and the last aircraft would officially leave service in 1982 in favor of the Aramaki MB-326. So, what armament could this plane carry? As mentioned previously, it could carry two 12.7mm machine guns. It also could carry 4 250-pound bombs, 4 500-pound bombs, or 2 1,000-pound bombs. The hardpoints could also support various types of rockets. So, why should the T-33 be in game? Due to the situation near the end of the Second World War, Italy wasn't able to develop any sort of early jet fighter like the Germans did or the US. By adding the Lockheed T-33 to the Italian tech tree, it would give Italian players the ability to use such aircraft at the BR range where nothing can really be added that isn't made of paper. This aircraft also has hardpoints for rockets and bombs, which would give Italy an adequate ground pounder for a ground army. Anyways guys, thank you for watching the video. Huge props to Nico and his suggestion. I will leave the suggestion in the description them down below. Make sure to join the Italian Discord server and the British Discord server. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.